In the United States, there are no political parties that can accomplish anything. This is by intentional design. Money talks, party affiliation walks. If you want to associate yourself with a political party, the singular effect of that is to neutralize you politically. When you agree to join a party, you are agreeing to oppose and be opposed by all other parties, right or wrong. You are agreeing to be an impotent and ineffective street fighter while the real party is going on 50 floors above you. To divide the public into two or more distinct opposing groups, that means whatever one group does will be automatically opposed by the other groups. The elites are then free to go nuts, planning our future for their benefit. It's perfectly all right for a bunch of grown-ups to divide themselves up into adversarial factions and waste their lives trying to prove that their club is best, but it can get seriously in the way when you badly need something like major government reform that without those party lines everyone would agree on. Any system of parties and partisans is an insidious mechanism for government to always have dominant authority over the public, and for public political initiatives to be locked in stalemate forever. This is one of the reasons that government is never held accountable for its wrongdoing, misconduct, errors, and failures. If one party should happen to come up with an idea not favorable to government control and domination, the other party will automatically oppose the idea, and there will be a street fight among parties, leaving government control and domination laughing on the sidelines. The division of you and I into separate parties is a mechanism to preserve government power, force, and corruption over us. At this point, the only tool that exists with which the public can control its government is unity. The best idea or vision in the world will not convince anyone in government to give up their power, control, perks, and kickbacks. Great ideas are a dime a dozen. What we don't seem to have anymore is mass marches into City Hall. To those in government, reform is scary. Constituent demand is boring and unprofitable. For government to be reformed or to simply comply with constituent demand, the issues and demands must be brought forward by a mass of determined activists which is so large and so loud that government is overwhelmed and unable to hear themselves think under the noise. The party system makes that nearly impossible. When we allow ourselves to be divided into parties, even if the whole party is unified, there's that opposing party neutralizing the push. Parties cancel each other out and falsely create the effect of no constituent agenda. The only way for the public to get traction and exercise control of its government servant is to find the policies and issues that everyone agrees on, and that everyone agree to not oppose each other on, and for everyone, regardless of party affiliation, to move unified and in solidarity upon government, demanding that change and allowing no compromise. It's the only thing that works. Everything else is a waste of time. The idea of unity is an idea whose time has come. Concerns about unaccountable government are now coming from all sides of the political landscape. Much of what government is doing is offensive to everyone. We're actually agreeing on issues and policies, and the only thing preventing progress is our notion that we must oppose each other's ideas. But when we look past the banners and bumper stickers and look at the actual ideas, many of them are the same on all sides. For instance, most Americans are appalled by our government's behavior militarily all over the world. We're not defending freedom. We're installing puppet governments and exploiting the world's resources by invasion, coercion, and killing. We're serving corporations doing that. Our government is destroying our nation's global reputation. And who, outside of government, is in favor of unrestrained domestic surveillance? Our government has now been exposed as violating the Constitution by conducting massive domestic surveillance against virtually every innocent American. What party is in favor of that? Our government operates in secret, using our resources to protect itself, and uses the term security to mean security for government at public expense. Government has put itself above us, and it has no authority to do so. These are problems that bridge partisan borders, and there are many more issues like these that most of us can agree on, and these are the biggest issues we face. Our Declaration of Independence says that we are entitled, in fact obligated, to dismantle, reform, and reconstruct our government whenever we find government not to our liking. Government now says that if we invoke that clause of the Declaration of Independence, we are terrorists, because it is now more important for government to enjoy security and protection than for the public to be secure and protected and served. There is no political party that benefits from arrogant, dismissive government. The struggle of all time, of all ages, is not the struggle between Republicans and Democrats. It is the struggle of collective power and force against individual rights, freedoms, prosperity, and self-determination. You may think government power is good, you may think it's bad, but in either case, you cannot get your government to do what you want unless you have a whole lot of friends joining you, and unless you have no major political parties opposing you simply because you wear a different lapel pin than they do. To enter into partisan politics by calling yourself a member of a party is to guarantee that your issues will be opposed, neutralized, and marginalized, and that government will therefore have no particular reason to accommodate your issues. In recent years, I was struck to see that many of the frustrations and demands of, say, for instance, the Tea Party were virtually identical to many of the frustrations and demands of the Occupy movements. Whether people want freedom, justice, or equity, we can agree that government has no business sending in militarized police to attack, arrest, and subdue innocent civilians who are simply exercising their rights of free speech and assembly. And we have so much in common, whether conservative or progressive. We all want to know that when an American soldier loses his life, it must be for a very noble cause and lasting good. Whether you want more or fewer government programs, we can all agree that government must stop wasting money on ineffective programs, bureaucratic negligence and incompetence, misappropriation, corruption, and busy work that government does for itself. Both the Tea Party movement and the Occupy movement, both the left and right media, all express frustration with government misconduct, corruption, poor policies, and failures. These are all problems that we can only fix by unifying our efforts and dropping the partisan politics while we do it. Government is delighted to see us fight among ourselves. It's perfect insurance for the status quo. So the only issues that will ever change are the ones that all parties agree on and that all members of all parties speak out on in unity without reference to any party loyalty, division, or opposition. We have been told that by joining a political party, we gain political clout. It is exactly the opposite. We gain political clout only with one thing: unity, unified action on a well-defined, narrow objective by a really, really large number of people who express no opposition to each other politically. You may love to get together with your ideological clones, but if you want to actually get something done, your party alone cannot do it. If it could, you would have done it by now. You will have to make friends on the other side of the partisan fences. You will have to identify the few issues upon which everyone agrees. And you will have to devote your efforts and resources to those few common issues. Nothing else will work. And we know that because it hasn't worked after decades of trying. The most powerful thing any government insider can face is unified public action. Government loses its credibility. Government cannot claim it is properly serving the public when the public is angry and surrounding the building. It's all about numbers and nothing else. We can get down to partisan issues some other time. If we want to get anything done, we must unify. Government is out of control. There are plenty of issues that we can easily agree on if we just stop allowing ourselves to be artificially divided. Imagine the power if Democrats and Republicans put aside the differences for a while and looked for a few common issues and goals and form a political ramrod and actually force the government to be accountable and responsive to the public for a change. We all share common needs, and aspirations for government accountability, our quality of life, our standard of living. It just takes a few serious and respectful conversations with someone from the opposite side and an agreement to go after a few or even just one basic issue, to put all the force and might of public pressure in the same direction. This is how we knock a hole in the dam and get our government back on track, serving us and not themselves. We can only do it by focusing on what we all agree on and put a major effort on that so that a few years from now we can say, we didn't just blow smoke, we didn't just take shots at each other. We got something done.